Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 98 of Drop Frames here. Oh, that's right. We're using Zoom now, so we get to see that a recording's been started over Zeke. It's back. It's back. We should do Zoom for episode 100 as well, just for the very beginning, and then swap over. So
Throwback?
Yeah, it's a throwback. I spoke with Ko yesterday. I think this may be your last show, if not second to last show, Jericho.
Well, it's been a good run. I didn't make it to 100, but I might.
You might. We might just.
Well,
What if for episode 100 this becomes a 5-person show?
oh man. Oh. Well, I don't know. It's up to you. It's not my show.
You're
I
gonna have
don't
to
know.
create a whole other square and everything.
Well, now
I
you're just
know.
talking crazy. That's
I know. That would be insane. I don't know. We'll see. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hello.
I started watching. There's no way other to lead in this. I got addicted to the Great England Bake or something on Netflix. Have you guys ever watched this?
the Great
Oh.
England Bake.
Let me look up the name of it. I don't even know the name of it. I just watch them bake. This is how I go to sleep. I watch them bake this like amazing pastries or a loaf. It's so cute and quaint because they call it just a loaf. Yeah, you need to bake a loaf. Just make a loaf. And I'm like, who said? No one says that except English people. It's great. I think it's called the Great English Bake.
I feel like loaf of
Oh,
bread.
no.
feel like
I was
people-
completely wrong. The Great British Bake Off. It's much better name. Much better name.
I like how you have to specify that they're British too. It has to.
It has
be
to be.
British.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know their bread's good.
It's
Are the British
fantastic.
like well known for bread? I mean, like,
I don't know. They have this old lady named Mary Sweets, maybe is her last name. I don't know. She's like a huge person in the
Poppins.
baking world.
of course, Mary Sweets is.
Poppins.
And
I think you were looking for Poppins.
they have like their Gordon Ramsay guy, who's this like slightly overweight British guy who will like they'll make this like amazing looking fucking loaf or
Mary Berry
Mary Berry. There you go.
and Paul Hollywood is
Paul
this-
Hollywood. Paul
Paul
Hollywood. He's
Hollywood?
this guy. So this is what Paul Hollywood does, guys. This show's amazing, by the way. Paul Hollywood, they'll make this amazing fucking pastry. It's been like 4 to 5 hours making this thing. He'll just cut into it, put it on the table, and then just stick his finger in the center to see if it's doughy, to see if it's not cooked or if it hasn't proofed enough. Do you guys know what proofing is in the baking world?
Oh, JP.
Yeah, please
Is that,
explain.
is that when? Hold on. I'm gonna make a guess. Is that when you stick like a toothpick in, and if there's like stuff that comes out on it, it's not done yet, kind of a thing?
No.
Okay.
But I think that if the bread isn't proofed enough, that it will do that. Did you guys hear that, by the way? Did that come through in the mic?
Yeah.
What was that?
That was the explosion that just happened, Zeke. I also figured out what that is. We'll get to that in just a second. Remember when it happened in the live show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what that
And
is
none of
now,
us
Zeke.
heard it.
Yeah, I know what that is now. It's also
Okay.
louder in the new house, which is quite scary when it happens. But proofing is when you let the bread rise. You put it in. They even make a proofing box thing for like professional chefs in their kitchens. It's like this little slide out thing. It's like slightly warm, and it allows the bread to rise. And if you don't let it rise enough, then it fucks up the entire bread or some shit. I don't know.
Listen, I don't know if you guys know me, but I'm a streamer on Twitch. I thought this was gonna be a video game talk. I didn't know that we were gonna be getting into baking.
Dude.
I mean, I can add some things
Look.
to this conversation, but
Look.
they won't be good.
I'm telling you, it's
We
on
talk
Netflix.
about whatever here.
We did.
We spent one episode talking about sous videing for a half an hour.
We did.
Hey, and
We
you
did.
put respect on sous vide. That
Yeah.
is the elitist way of cooking your meat because then
That's
you
great.
have to fucking blowtorch it so it doesn't look like soggy gray
Yeah,
crap.
I'd go
Wait.
get my blowtorch right now. But wait, Ella, have you not seen the blowtorch?
No, I haven't seen the blowtorch at all. I've never been more lost on a Drop Frames episode than today. This is a totally different start than what I'm used to. But I'm in. Let's ride this bread train all the way through, man. Let's just do it. I've been watching like a shit ton.
the area because I'm not kidding. This is an actual blowtorch.
That is not a like.
It's quite loud too.
That feel when it comes it out because it's blue.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's how you cook the meat.
That's
Popular
right.
Twitch streamer itmeJP was killed today.
Think of the viewership Drop Frames episode 99 would get if JP burnt himself to death on it.
God.
We wouldn't be able to shut the stream down. We'd have to sit here and watch in horror as he died.
All right, that's how you finish a steak if you sous
Looks
vide.
good and safe, bud.
Well, okay, so is this show like a documentary or is
No,
it
no,
like
it's a
reality
cooking show. It's a cooking
Okay, so it's
show.
just a cooking show. It's
Or
just like-
sorry, it's like a reality cooking show. There's like contestants that come on, they try to like bake the best. They use all these like
best
French.
loaf of bread?
Well, no, like they make, there's like French fucking pastries, there's like German pastries, and they all sound delicious. And then they make them, and you're sitting there in bed at like 3 a.m. And you're like, fuck it, I could really go. Oh, should I go get one of those right? I don't even know where I could find one. Maybe I should try to make it. And then, then I fall asleep.
good thing for you that most bakeries are open really early.
Yeah. If I binge enough, then I can just stay up late enough and go get some pastries.
Dude, I just picture you as that pathetic dude in your sweats, like outside the bakery, like
You're at Krispy Kreme at 5 a.m. to get the warm donuts, you know?
Yeah.
are you open yet? It's time for you to be open.
Few things will get me harder than a fresh bagel. You know, like an everything bagel.
Yeah, they don't really. At least in the season and a half that I've watched, they haven't made a bagel yet. They make some fucking extraordinary things, though. I highly recommend watching this. Just watch one episode, and you'll know within the first 30 minutes if you like it or you don't.
Okay.
I'll check it out because I'm running out of things to watch on Netflix. I've been on a documentary kick for like the last couple of months.
Yeah.
And I swear I've watched almost every single documentary on there.
Yeah.
I've seen so many documentaries. I'm running out of material.
There's a lot of good ones on there for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of interesting stuff out there. But I'll give it a go. I'll check it out. I'm not gonna hate. I'm not gonna judge. I'm just gonna jump in, man.
What's the name one more time?
The Great British Bake Off.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You should use it.
It sounds like a British show.
Oh, it's
Like they
so
didn't
British.
even need to add British into the title. I would have
It's
definitely
so British. They say some of the most British things, and what is it? Is it a colloquialism? Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
Good job, JP.
Oh my
I
god!
think that's Sometimes I sound smart.
A colloquialism or idiom.
Yeah, and they just say so many things, and then you hear that as an American, and you're just like, well, that doesn't make any sense, but it actually makes sense over there. So there you go.
Yeah.
Should ask.
Well,
Stack.
that just Rogers my biscuits.
They make a lot of puns. There's a lot of puns. The two. So there's the two judges, and then there's two like comedians / announcers, and they're the guys that say like 3, 2, 1, bake, and every time they do that, there's like a new pun that they say with whatever it's great. Just watch it. It's fun.
I'll watch the show just to have something more to talk to Sacriel about. You know,
Yeah, yeah, dude.
know,
they have like.
Yeah.
Did you know that there's a thing called a tea loaf? There is a.
I mean, sure.
There
That
is.
sounds like scat porn.
Yeah, it sounds
There
like
is a specific pastry or set of pastries that are specifically made to be eaten with your tea if you live in England. And they spent an entire episode making different tea loaves, and they all looked fantastic.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought when you said tea loaf that it was like a loaf of bread in the shape of the letter T. Like that's what I
No.
saw. Like I wasn't even thinking like a tea loaf. Like I don't know why. I just thought like why would you make? Do you do all letters or is it just the
Maybe
one?
they might have a Z loaf. I don't know.
You have to bake the alphabet today.
I think they call that a Zed loaf, actually.
A Z loaf. Maybe so.
When I hear the word loaf,
I
I think of
hate
poop. For sure though. Like when like somebody pinches off a loaf. You know?
No, that's why when they call it loaf, it sounds so weird.
Why does loaf make you think of poo?
because that's like when you pinch off a loaf. Like it's a.
I've
It's a
never heard.
I don't
that.
use
You've
that.
never heard of anybody-
I don't use that idiom that often.
chat. You
No.
understand?
You're probably Jericho's probably too young to. You didn't get into Beavis and Butthead when it was on.
You're right, because I was a fetus.
That's where I learned pinch a loaf and that like a lot of different like idioms in America
Gotcha.
from like watching MTV. There's tons of that shit that came out of that. And
Yeah.
pinch a loaf was one like, yeah, we're gonna go pinch a loaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, watch the show. It's great. It'll
Right.
broaden your horizons. And the only reason I'm watching it, I'm going to name drop, is because Felicia Day told Aurelian that the show was great. And then when Aurelian was down here by for South by Southwest, I walked in one night and she was watching it. It's like, what the fuck is this? Why are you watching a British show in America? This is heresy. And I sat down for 20 minutes and was like, all right, I'm hooked. And I watched like 4 or 5 episodes. It was great.
All right, fine. Come
Check it out.
JP, you're famous. We get it.
Yeah.
We get
Not
it.
even him. He's not even famous.
I'm not even famous. It's my girlfriend. Yeah. Also, by the way, the explosions, very close to the house.
Hold on, I'm gonna make a guess.
Okay.
Is it a college stadium when they get a touchdown, they like fire cannons?
No.
That actually happened.
Of course,
It
that
makes
happens.
sense. That happens.
Okay.
They did that in
Yeah.
college.
It's actually, there's a quarry very close to where I live, and they will set off dynamite because I haven't 100% confirmed this, but if you look at all the statistics of all the noises, they only happen during the day. They only happen midday, working day, and they always come from this area, which is, I'm pointing, this means nothing to you. This is the void.
Oh,
to
that
people
area?
on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But this direction of my house, even in the other house where I lived, and Zeke experienced it for the Game of the Year show this year, which is where the quarry is located. And someone said that on stream, was like, is that like dynamite going off or something? I was like, you know what? I bet you they are just drigging or blowing shit up in that quarry.
Is it
Makes
fracking? Are they fracking? Is
I
your
don't-
water on fire?
No, it's not. I don't know enough about fracking to say if they are or not. I don't know the process of fracking. I don't know. I haven't learned that yet. I haven't gotten into that.
When a man and a woman love each other,
You haven't watched
or hate each other,
Have you not-
completely despise each other,
Yeah.
but they're exes.
Or one's paid and has no emotional connection, but you know.
Is there
Jericho's
no
young, he knows.
is there no documentary on fracking that you've watched yet, Elo?
Actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because there is, and I skipped right over it because it sounded boring as fuck. So I was like, I'm not doing it. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. It sounds like a terribly complicated situation.
Was it pro or con?
Oh, I don't even know. I just saw it.
If it's a documentary, it's probably con.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Did you at least watch Jiro Dreams of Sushi? Did you watch
Actually, I'm saving that one. That was like one that I'm definitely saving. So I
Okay.
haven't watched that one. I know that's
like-
like on every like top 10, 20 list of docs because I've seen them all. But I was like, there's like a couple that I'm holding on to that I haven't.
Did you watch Blackfish yet? I think it's
Yes,
called Blackfish.
I watched that. Yeah.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but I would say that I got emotional. Does
Okay.
that make
I haven't
sense?
watched it yet because one of my friends watched it and he said that he was so fucking upset after watching that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like by
documentary.
emotional, like it gets you sort of heated up. Like we went to after TwitchCon last year in San Diego. We went to SeaWorld. It was me and Jay, not JB, obviously Sacriel, Shannon, whatever. We went as a group, and then I came home, and then a couple months later, I watched the documentary, and I hated myself for ever having gone. Like I legitimately was like, I feel terrible for. I
Hindsight's
had like a free
20/20,
ticket
man.
too. I didn't even spend any
Yeah.
money, but it made me feel bad.
We have a SeaWorld in San Antonio that ever since that documentary came out, I haven't watched the documentary, but just knowing what goes on at SeaWorld now, like reading all these fucking reports and shit, I'm never going to go to SeaWorld again.
I always try to keep a level head when I watch documentaries. Like I almost, they're almost always, they have an agenda, right? Whether
Yeah.
it's, good or bad, whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can tell that it's set up in a certain way to paint these people as villains and these people. And you can tell when that's happening if you watch them at documentaries. But man, Blackfish is so hard to see like the other side or try to see the other side. Like I did research afterwards and it's just, it's tragic, man. It's
It is,
fucking
yeah.
sad. When I said I was emotional, it's not that there's anything wrong with crying if you feel like crying when you're emotional. I'm just saying that I got more angry. Like it fired me up a little bit.
Sure,
And I just
sure.
felt shame for having gone.
Have you watched An Inconvenient Truth yet?
I believe so. Let me
That's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. He
And Al
voices
Gore.
yeah. No. That's the one with Al Gore is it's a different one. Oh wait, no. Inconvenient Truth is Al Gore.
What's Al
the
Gore? I've never seen it.
Okay, what's the one with Leonardo DiCaprio then? Because that's the one I watched.
Super Size Me. That's the one you watched.
No,
Super Size Me
I've
with
never
Leonardo
watched Super Size Me. Chad will tell me here in a sec.
I've
I
seen that
watched it and I immediately went and got a hamburger. And I'm not saying that to like be funny. I was like, herder. I was like, I'm really hungry. Like this guy ate. It was terrible. I'm still hungry and I'm not eating McDonald's every day. I'm eating a hamburger. It was good.
I just got done watching Last Chance U.
Cowspiracy?
which is awesome documentary. Have you guys like football? I've been watching like a lot of football documentaries.
Oh, the 30 before 30 shit. Have you watched that? That stuff is fantastic that ESPN does. It's on the same.
No, I haven't seen that one either.
30 before 30 does
I'm
like
like, I've watched all these documentaries, and everyone you're mentioning, I'm like, nope, I haven't seen that one.
30 before 30 is like a series that
Not
ESPN
before,
does.
it's just 30 for 30.
Or 30 for 30. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really good.
They're really,
I mean,
really good.
I'm not even a sports ball guy, and I watched almost all of them. They're great.
They're
They
fantastic.
always just like, what if I told you the biggest comeback in history wasn't Donald Trump's presidency? And then they'll just show like a basketball player. And it's like, oh, good segue. How's this ending up,
Yeah.
ESPN?
The 30 for 30 with the fucking, oh God, what is his name? Bo something or other. God damn it.
Boz.
Bo Boss. Is that
No,
it?
it's Brian and the Boz. Brian Bosworth.
That's a different one. God, he's the guy that played both football and
That's
baseball.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson. The 30 for 30
said
on
just-
Bo.
Oh,
Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear that, L. Everyone's
okay.
mic was cut. Zoom does this thing sometimes where if everyone talks, it just says, nope, that person's not going to be able to be heard at all.
Good.
Just
So,
ignore me. It's fine.
Yeah.
No. Back to fracking. That's what it was. Back to fracking. I'm sorry. We have to go back.
Okay.
So I originally went to watch a documentary thinking it was about fracking. It was called The Overnighters.
Uh-huh.
And it has fracking around it, but it's mostly about this dude who's taking in all these workers, these guys that are showing up to get jobs because there's jobs now with the oil. And it's about him taking them into this church and like housing them, and how it's like affecting the entire community and like tearing people apart and stuff. So I actually went to watch a documentary about it and ended up with something entirely different, which was like a personal piece about this pastor, which actually was really good. I suggest watching it. Interesting to see the dynamics and the agendas some of these people have. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
People are crazy, it turns out.
Sorry, I didn't mean to backtrack. I went fracking.
No, it's totally fine. I think the first hour of the show, the first portion of the show, part of the show, if you break it up in an hour and a half, is going to be quite different than normal anyways. I was talking with Zeke, and really this is an idea that I would actually like to thank the Great British Bake Off for giving me, because it was right after that when I was hungry. I was like, I need to get my mind off food. Let's think about drop frames and who I'm going to have on. Then I was like, we don't have anything to talk about. So I had this idea a while back. If you've been watching content that I produced for a while, I did a show called Real Talk. Elaham, were you on Real Talk at one time?
I wasn't on Real Talk, but I did like my own sort of take.
That's
on Real
what.
Talk.
That's why. Okay.
I did 1v1, and
Yeah.
I just didn't like the format. Like I did a couple shows with you and Sacriel, and I was just kind of feeling it out, and I didn't like the one-on-one. Like
Totally.
I did something about it that I just didn't like, so I stopped doing it. But
Totally.
I did something similar.
Yeah. So I did that show back in the esports days, and I haven't really done anything like it since. But we spend this time on the show talking about, what's new in gaming, what's going on with gaming, what the latest Twitch stuff is. And there's just not much going on right now.
There ain't shit, JP.
There's not much going on right now. And so I figured, why not just do a little bit of that on this show and maybe get a little bit more personal. Is Zeke and I figured out the best word for that earlier, because I was going with personable,
You're
but
saying
that's
that
wrong.
this is called Real Talk, Get Personal? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
no, that I'm
The
just
exact
describing.
title of a series I do on YouTube?
I'm just describing
Wow.
the schedule, or
I wonder if they'll come out with a British Real Talk getting personal. Like a British version.
Maybe so. I'd watch that. It probably sound much better than me, because British people just sound better.
They do.
They're just better people. Yeah. You're taking a big breath there, Zeke. Would you like to add in?
No, I'm trying to think of a good name, like drop feelings or something like that. Like
dropped feelings.
But that would mean the
that's why I didn't
absence.
say it. That's
Yeah.
why I shut the fuck up, because I know that's bad.
No, I respect your attempt. Okay.
I was just giving you an example of that's what I was like thinking. Like I'm trying to come up with a name.
Listen, if you're going to be this defensive so early, we're not going to get anywhere, Zeke. Okay? I'm going to need you to calm down. Take a
This
deep
is
breath.
so much pressure all the
Sit on
time.
the couch. Let's
JP is so mean to me off the camera. It's just
True. It's true.
dropped feelings. Oh,
Personal
man.
frames.
No.
No.
Feels frames, man. Feels frames, man.
Feels frames.
Feels-
Like feels bad, man. Feels frames, man.
Okay. All right.
That's my out of left field.
It's the working title. It's a
That's the
working
working
title
title.
at the moment.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
working title. Jericho,
No.
apparently you do this series on YouTube as well. Or
Yeah.
something similar to it.
Yeah. I don't. Wait, what do you want me to say? That?
No,
I do.
I'm just curious. Like, what do you talk about on that?
Like, it's only like when I really like I wake up and I'm like pissed off at something, or like there's like something I really want to cover. It's like the most recent one was, I'm pretty sure it was like Twitch. Like somebody wrote an article, I think Broman did, about like burning out on Twitch, like always being online, and I was like, nah, let me like do the other side of that one. So shit like that.
I see. Yeah, Gathalion. I think Gathalion's latest tweets. Broman did that article, but Gathalion had some tweets a while back that probably spawned this as well, which maybe we can get to later on. But we won't really be talking about any of the YouTube drama or anything. This is more the four of us and introspective. So if that's something that doesn't interest you, just come back in an hour. We'll be talking about the latest and greatest on Twitch and all the not games that are coming out, that are not coming out, rather. But yeah, I think we'll just start posing questions. There's no really order to this. I'll start with Zeke, since I kind of already asked him about this. But has it been a year since you lost your dad on stream? When you kind of not on stream, but when you were like, when that happened in your stream,
He didn't die on stream.
he
I
didn't die
promise
on
that.
stream. Thank God. Thank God. See, it's great.
There's been a lot of that though lately. It's been kind of crazy, like just people dying on stream.
Well, people die every day. Oh, that's why I love doing this shit.
I walked right into it. All right. Okay. Yeah, there's been a lot of that happening.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's a lot of people dying all around the world. It's an epidemic.
Oh, it's good
I
stuff.
might have been on stream, but I mean, it didn't come out that way.
Valor Morgulus, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, about that.
Zeke, how long has it been? 'Cause
I think it'll be 2 years in October.
oh, okay. Dang, I didn't realize it had been that long. I feel like that was one of the, more so than any other streamer that I can actually think about, that was like a very public thing. Like your community got super behind that and like super supportive.
Yeah. Well, it affected, like, I didn't know to the extent that it affected people, because I obviously got messages and emails and all that kind of stuff. But I think it was really had a powerful effect on a lot of people, because he'd been on like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 streams.
Yeah.
And they got to know him. And I think that's why it affected people so greatly, because they got to see him. Like, they got to see someone's dad, like, understanding what Twitch is, like, gradually. Because the first show he was on is like, yeah, I'll come over. I said, Dad, you want to be on the show? And he goes, yeah, I'll come over. Maybe I'll pop in for half an hour or whatever. It ended up staying for like 4 or 5 hours, the first broadcast. And after that show, he was like, oh, okay, he got it. Like, I understand what you do now. And I said, so you would possibly do it again? He goes, oh, anytime. And he did. He just popped on and he helped me with a St. Jude thing. He ate a ghost pepper with me. Which was
I
awesome.
remember that stream.
I remember the ghost pepper. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that.
Yeah.
I think you're one of the few people who's ever had their parents actually on their broadcast, which is funny because I was actually recently going to have my mom on the broadcast when she was visiting. And I thought about you and your dad and how much fun you guys had. And it inspired me to want to have her on, because I know she'd have fun as well. I remember specifically changing my Twitter picture to the heart with your dad and I think Julia made. I remember.
Yeah, dude.
Your dad
Julia,
just seemed like such a cool guy. Like he seemed so laid back, like just fun. Like he just wanted to have lots of fun with you, just hang out.
Yeah, I come by it honestly.
You do. You absolutely do. It doesn't fall far. It really doesn't. I remember, I didn't know your father, obviously, well at all, but just seeing the interactions you guys had, it hit me very, very profoundly. So, that's a tough thing to go through is a death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot.
In the public eye, because you have to, the thing is that like people expect you when you get on to the broadcast to be energetic, to be almost happy to be this person. And when you're going through those emotions, there's just no way. There's no way you're gonna just mask that or hide that. So let me pose a question.
Well,
go ahead. If you want to.
I'm going to speak to that because when the first broadcast I had back after dealing with the all the logistics of a death in the family, I was really worried about not about showing my emotions so much, but about how to act. I didn't feel like anything that I would do or say would be genuine because I felt like I should be really upset and maybe cry or something like that. I felt like I should show a lot of sadness or whatever, and I just wasn't feeling that. So it was less that it's time to be on, more so it was difficult for me to find like an honest voice the day afterwards because I was struggling with how to feel about it. Like, and I struggled with that for a long time. Like after like the entire like year afterwards, I struggled with like, man, I really, really haven't sobbed about Dad yet.
Right.
I don't know, like, should I have done that? Like, I'll have like choked up teary moments, but I've never like had like these racking, awful sobs. Of course, I miss the guy, but I felt like I wasn't sad enough.
Sure.
No. But I mean, I think that there's something to say about that is that everybody handles grief differently, right?
Yeah.
And there's a perceived way that you're supposed to handle grief. And I think that maybe being in front of people might exacerbate that feeling, that you maybe need to facilitate that feeling for them, but I don't think there's anything wrong with not crying, and there's nothing wrong with sobbing uncontrollably. Jake, you were going to say something. Sorry.
No, I wasn't. I was just going to agree and say, like, I mean, it's entirely reasonable to feel that way. Like I had the same feeling when my grandmother passed away, who I knew and grew up with, but didn't really have the tight, like, close relationship nature with her. And I still felt like, because my dad was just beside himself, he didn't he had already lost his dad like years ago, so losing his mom too, like that's that. And my mom was upset clearly, and I was like I mean I don't know, like it sucks, but like I wasn't that close to them, so I still felt like I had to be sad for my parents, so they'd be like, oh, like everybody's together in this kind of deal. And it feels worse because then you feel bad for not feeling bad. You're like, what the that sucks. But it's
well, and everybody is in chat is saying the same thing that I heard like a million times, that like after I tell anybody that, they're like, everybody grieves in their own way, right? But you still think that you still have this picture of normality because you've known people who've lost loved ones that are close to them and that kind of stuff, and they act completely different than you as a whole. Like as groups of people, you see like similar attributes, and I'm not sharing any of these attributes. So you look to other people to decide what is the normal, and you're not doing that, so you feel abnormal and that kind of stuff.
What was it? I don't know the word for it. Annoying, maybe frustrating, like being on stream around the time that it happened. And even, I think maybe this is a question for everyone, but when you're a person dealing with any type of loss or anything like that, and you have to talk about it on stream, and you get constantly asked the same question, like, hey man, how are you doing? How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Like, is that an annoyance to you guys? Or do you just accept that people are interested and you'll, give them an answer and quickly move on after you've said it 1,000 times?
For me, no. I don't think annoyance is the right word. I don't know a better word though.
Coach should be here for that. How do you deal with getting asked the same question over and over again?
Yeah. He'll be here next week, maybe.
I guess. Okay, so here's kind of my thing. I'll let you guys in on a little story about me, a little personal story. When I first started broadcasting on Twitch, I was living with my grandmother. I had lived with my grandmother before and moved out on my own. And then when I went back to college, I moved in with her, and it was a mutual thing. I didn't have to pay rent, and she benefited because I was there to kind of help her around the house and make sure things got done, which was really great. And that's when I started streaming. I was literally in my grandma's living room when I started streaming. So people started to get to know my grandmother through streaming just because she happened to be around. She didn't really know what I was doing. She didn't really understand, but she knew I was happy and I was starting to, make something out of it. And so she was super excited and people got to know her. Well, I ended up, at a certain point moving out and all that good stuff. Well, she ended up passing away. And for me, the hardest thing when it came to my broadcast was just getting in front of people in the state that I was, because I was really emotional. And I have this philosophy that when I'm broadcasting, I want you guys to come in and have a stress-free environment, right? Like if you go to, think about us as entertainment, right? If you go to a comedy show, you show up expecting to laugh. If you go to a Broadway, you're showing up expecting certain things. When I want people to come to my channel, I want them to expect to have a good time, no matter what. And on the days that I'm not there or in it, I don't stream those days. And I stream the days that I feel like I'm going to put on a good broadcast. And it felt bad for me because I knew if I streamed that it would be a session of like chat's my therapist, right? Like I'm going to sit there and I'm going to cry the entire stream. I'm going to get fucked up. I'm going to be like out of it. I'm going to be talking about it, all that stuff. And when I think about the viewer and I think about the viewer showing up for what they want to see and then seeing this guy crying on stage, like let's say you went to go see Dave Chappelle. And then when you got there, he was just crying on stage about his dead grandma, like that was what I thought. Not that I'm Dave Chappelle or anything, but like, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Like content, I don't want to present that content to them. So what do? And I chose to just do it anyways and just get out there and show that. And I think that one of the reasons people watch us is because, we show our humanity. We show our humanity in a lot of different ways. And even though I spent half the stream crying, I remember a Star Wars Battlefront, like right when that, or Battlefront.
Yeah.
I always get messed up with Battlefield. Right when it came out, I was just sitting there for like 8 hours, like probably 30 minutes on the minute, man. I'd start crying and everything. But the community was intensely loyal, intensely there for me. They were like in a way that I'd never seen my community act before. And it completely changed the way that I sort of viewed it. But those are some of the struggles that I went into when I was dealing with it. Was I just didn't want people to show up and deal with sadness and deal with grief and deal with those things that they get away from purposely. They come to my channel to escape, Yeah. So it was a weird thing. I did a write up on it, one of the few tweet longers or whatever that.
Tweet longer things, yeah.
Yeah. But it was good.
Obviously not the same thing as a death in the family, but Jericho, you went through a pretty public breakup. When was that? You know the dates better.
Yeah. That was like in the summer, late summer.
Yeah. Was that kind of similar, or like how did you deal with that? What was?
To be honest, like this is my job, right? And I do want people, like Ella said, like I want people to come in and be like, oh, cool, you expect me. I don't have good game skill. You're not coming to watch me win anything, right? So like, oh, you expect me to be at least some certain level of entertainment. So yeah, I just I don't know. I had to work, right? And I was moving to LA, so that took a lot of time out. And then I had to get my soundproof booth, so that took like a month, right? And that's kind of that whole period kind of forced me, because I couldn't work in my apartment, to just go out and have fun, meet people. Met two of my two best friends currently. I met them just because I had nothing else to do. So by the time I was already ready to get back to work and go back to being a full-time streamer and YouTuber and such, I had finally built the booth. So it was cool. So I wasn't exactly in the same position as you guys were, or might have been in, where you're kind of working through it while also being on stream. But I agree with what Ella said. Like that's an important thing. Some people don't have like a really close relationship, but everybody does have some relationship with their viewers regardless. And so it's not like you don't have to be 100% professional. You also don't have to view it as like a therapy session. It can be just this mutual thing, whether you're sad or happy. I mean, you're going to watch it probably either way.
Right. I mean, at some point it's up to the streamer how they want to handle that stuff, I think.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's up to individuals.
Yeah, and from what you were just saying, a lot of what the quote dealing process was kind of done off stream because you were moving and all that stuff, so you weren't in front of people when you were dealing with it, basically.
Yeah.
Did you get?
Makes things nice.
Yeah, I mean, did you get like hounded when you like what was that like in this world doing what we do? Because the three of us can't really relate to it too much. That's gotta fucking suck.
Oh, you would. No, I'm just playing.
It's got to be really terrible being in the public eye. Just having a.
I will never ever. I've said this publicly. I will never ever date somebody in like the public space ever. Like that. I said the same thing to Syndicate when I was living with him. Okay. And I've said the same thing to other people. I'm like, why are you doing this, you dumbass? It's gonna be so messy when you break up, or if you do. And yeah, so. Lesson learned on that. Not going to do that because it's just like, like honestly, we work on the internet. Like I've been doing this for 8 years now. There's not really much that anybody can say that's going to bother me anymore, but it is obnoxious the lengths that people will go to try and make, to try and see if they can prod you and get away with it. It's like
bring you on a talk show and ask you without prompt.
Yeah, right. Yeah, without prompt. But realistically, it's predictable, and everybody can guess how it is. You're gonna get people every photo I take with a girl, including my best friends are dating right now, right? Every time I took a photo with the girl, Cheney, it was like, yo, you're totally hitting that, right? 900 million times later, people still come in and go, oh, dude, like, so you're dating that girl, right? My friend from back home, like, oh, you guys are going out. Like, no, like she's dating another guy, and it's just like assumptions get made just because you're single now. So that's obnoxious, but like,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I was just saying we're splitting hairs here. It's really not that bad compared to like what I'd imagine losing a close family friend or loved one would be like.
I feel like there's a level of sympathy that goes along with the loss of a loved one, obviously, that is missing when you're breaking up.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's almost like it's almost like a completely different social situation online for you. Like you can compare the two, but I don't know. Like, I feel like it would be worse to go through a breakup in some respects because people don't like some people aren't going to take it seriously. Like when somebody dies, it's very serious. Well, it's like somebody breaks up, you're going to get all those people that troll you and fuck with you. And like I watched your breakup, and I watched like Gold Glove's breakup back in the day, some time ago, Brennan. And I see that, and I'm just like, God, that's got to be fucking miserable.
It's got to be miserable, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be fucking miserable.
I don't think anybody is like, yo, what's dope? Like, get in my personal business. Like, we all have that. Everybody tries to have that separation while still having a valuable connection with their viewers. And you let people into your life as much as you want, but there is a level of like privacy that you expect, which isn't there because of the job that we're in and the situations that we put ourselves in. So I mean, that's the biggest thing that you're going to get. Also the people like, well, if you didn't want people talking about it, you shouldn't be in the public eye. Like, yeah, let me just leave my job. That's like an easy fix there. But I mean, point is, it's just like, yeah, it's just not fun. And I agree with you that you have like a mindset. Everybody's with you on that versus you might have people that are going to be like with your ex or with you instead of them. And it's just like, why are the viewers now battling over this? It's fucking stupid. You had you guys didn't date each other. This doesn't make sense. So
who gets custody of the viewers?
Right. Like, I don't give a fuck what you do. Like, go watch whoever you want. Like, don't talk to me about it. I don't care about you right now. Like, that's not like a thing. So, yeah, it's predictably obnoxious.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we kind of, I realized we started straight right off into the deep end there in the beginning, just jumping straight to death and breaking up. We'll make it a tiny bit lighter, I would guess. Circle back to Zeke. This was actually the initial question that started this because I feel like it's a good talking point. I don't know how you're going to take it though. So here we go. You're muted. What was that? Now it's really tense.
I'm pretty easygoing, brother.
Okay, I know you are. You started your whole streaming career, and I think everyone, he's living off of man's hype, whatever, man's stardom,
Coattails.
fandom, coattails, whatever, however you want to call it.
Sure.
Do you feel you're finally out of a shadow after all these years? Like personally, do you feel not necessarily what everyone sees, but like, do you feel you're out of it?
I don't think I ever will be, as long as Twitch is a thing. I don't think that. Yeah, maybe not on Twitch, but maybe from doing other stuff. Like I really felt like I came into on my own when I hosted my first gig without him there as well. When I did my first like Twitch gig, doing interviews of game developers and stuff like that at an event that he was not working as well. I felt like, oh shit, so they do just like me. I'm not just here because I'm a tag along kind of a thing. It's like when people think of Andy Richter. Andy Richter's done some pretty funny, cool stuff on his own, but he will always be connected to Conan O'Brien. Always. There's no getting away from that. And it's fine. It's fine with me. But I think that I've separated myself enough doing different content, different branching out in different directions and stuff like that, that has separated me from him. But I don't think I'll ever not have that as far as a connection.
Can I tell you a quick little story about you two the first time?
No stories on the show. Only hard. No.
Well, okay, I guess. No, the first time I ever saw both of you, both Man vs. Game and you, and again, I'm not taking shots at Man or anything like that. I don't want it to come across that way. I first jumped in. I remember the game specifically. It was Kingdoms of Amalur, whatever that game was. You guys were doing a dual stream, and I jumped in. I was like, "What's this channel, Man vs. Game?" I honestly didn't know who the two of you were, and I saw both of you sitting there playing, and I immediately assumed that you were Man vs. Game because you. And I don't mean that as like
no.
It just seemed like you were the boisterous, like laugh loud, like you were right there, like super entertaining guy. And I thought, this is the guy that owns the channel, and here's his friend that's playing with him, because you were just so animated and you were just such a natural. So that was just a little story when you first started. I legitimately thought you've been doing it for years. You're incredible.
Well, and it doesn't. I mean, and I'd assume that the physical attributes don't hurt, like beard. Like I'm much bigger than he is physically. Like we're around the same height within an inch. But as far as like thickness and body mass, like I far outweigh him.
Your hair was all long and shit. Like
exactly.
You were gnarly.
You had a lot.
It was
Your
awesome.
hair was super long back then.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
It was gnarly, man. I mean, that's the only way you could describe his hair back then. It was gnarly.
It was actually gnarly.
It was actually gnarly. There's no other words that can describe it. Just that word.
Yeah, I'm thick. Yeah, with 2 C's, right? That's me. I got the thickness.
Do you feel like viewers are able to separate the two of you now after this much time? Okay.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's not an issue anymore where people come in there and be like, "Hey man, but you're going off of," or "Hey Zeke, not Man," because obviously, "Hey, you're going off of Man's coattails now." Blah blah blah.
You know what? It's been quite a while since, because I used to get all the time people coming in and saying, "Who is this fucking Man ripoff?" kind of a thing. I used to get that. Or I
feel like you two are so different.
Right, I know. And that's what I thought too. It's like you can't see how much you look like your brothers yourself, but everyone else goes, "Oh, you're obviously brothers."
That's
kind
true.
of. And then I would get that question all the time. Is this Man's brother? I get that all the time. It's been a long time since I've got any of that, because and like I said before, like we have branched out in so many different ways. I'm doing lots of different things. Like I'm doing drop frames, I'm doing role playing, I'm doing hosting gigs, like all kinds of stuff. So I think I've separated myself enough now where it hasn't happened in my chat in a long time that someone's come in and said anything related or close to that.
Cool. A lot of requests for you guys to ask me stuff, so feel free.
Oh, I got a question.
Okay,
Yeah,
he's
I'm
been
gonna
holding
get
this one
right
for
into
years.
it, man.
Here we go.
Literally for
Here
years.
we go. All right, what's up?
I got to be very delicate about this because I don't
Why
think
are you
it's necessarily.
I mean, I've lost like 30 pounds in the past month, so that's not too bad.
You look
Well,
great.
there goes my question. I got nothing now.
Yeah. JP, my question is this. It just says fat fuck with a question mark.
All right,
That fuck.
That's it. Those are all the hard questions. On to the next one. Let's go.
So I have a very serious question, but I have a delicate. It's kind of delicate. I want to make sure that you understand where I'm coming from before I jump into the question.
Okay.
I want you to know I'm in no way upset at you. I'm in no way like judging you or anything like
Ooh,
that.
Okay.
I know this is gonna get there, but I have noticed that in the last, I don't know, year and a half, it seems like you're trying to do something different on Twitch, and in the process, it's kind of like you positioned yourself with the upper echelon, right? And again, I don't want you to come across as accusing or anything like that. Like I saw Jericho's face just now, like what?
I'm interested to see where this is going.
Yeah, me too. I think I know where it's going, but let's see if it takes a sharp turn.
It seemed like, and I totally understand because you've got places that you want to go and you've got dreams you have to accomplish and you've got a certain direction that you want to take your content. And and it's not a personal thing. It's like a business thing entirely. Mm-hmm. But as your friend, as somebody who's known you a couple years now and stuff, I feel like our relationship has been strained because of it. Like maybe we don't hang out as much, or maybe we don't, get dinners at conventions and stuff like that. In your pursuit of what you're trying to accomplish, do you ever think about that at all? Like who you may be leaving behind, or who you may, and not that I feel like you're leaving me behind. You've always been very open with me anytime I've ever needed to come and talk to you.
Sure.
You've always been there if I had a problem, nothing like that. So it's not really even a problem. It's just something I've noticed. Do you ever think about the choices that you're making, and do you ever regret like some of the things that are happening in the process of this evolution?
Regret, no, but I do think about the choices a lot. But they're usually after the fact. Because this is definitely, I would say you're first publicly, second or third probably privately to come to me with this type of comment. But yeah, I think that conventions, and this is how I look at it, and maybe it's the wrong way to look at it. Yeah. I feel like at conventions, you've got 3 nights. I feel like I've hung out with, let's say, Zeke every week. Like I do a show with him. We talk all the time. At conventions, I don't get a chance to really ever talk with some of these other people. So that's kind of where my time goes at these places. I think a good example, at least for me, there is me and Jericho for the longest time weren't really too friendly. We started hanging out at conventions, and now he's on Drop Frames every week. We talk all the time. And at conventions, we've kind of gone our own way. The only way, I guess the exception to that is PAX South, because there was like maybe 20 broadcasters there. So.
I think we get dinner like one night.
Yeah.
That's the extent of our hangout.
Yeah. But there definitely are, and this is maybe a little bit too much inside baseball, but I feel like at cons, there's definitely cliques that are apparent.
Yes, God, yes. Man.
And I've always, even in the esports world, I've always jumped from kind of click to click and never hung to one 100%. And I definitely can see how that would piss people off. But that's just kind of what I do. And if that's opportunistic, then I get that. But a lot of the times, again, at cons, I'm just trying to say hi to as many people as possible. And most of those times they're going to be new faces. And it's honestly like why I've stopped kind of going to cons, because I've been going for like 6-7 years now with MLGs included in there. So it's not that I know everyone. It's just I'm tired of the same thing over and over again. So a lot of times I go for whatever's easier at some of those conventions too, for when it comes to like the dinners and whatnot. But yeah, I think I answered your question fully. If I didn't, feel free to prod.
It's a difficult question, because it's almost like, okay, it's going to be kind of a weird analogy, but bear with me. It's almost like the Twitch party, right? where it's like in the early years, people like everybody could get in, right? And you had time for everybody, and it didn't become this huge debacle until recently. We had so many people, and there's even like a law to this, right? Where you can only maintain certain amounts of relationships at a time.
I agree with
Like,
that 100%, man.
Yeah, like you just do not have the resources as a human to have, and I believe it's like 150 personal relationships. I think it's the max a person that has just absolute free time can have relationships with people.
I mean, I would say that's like really fucking high.
And I think that's I think that's the max. That's the max. So it's sort of like an unfair question because there's a lot of factors in there just besides your ambition. There's other things happening there.
Right.
But I have felt an absence of you in my life, and it sucks because I consider you a really good friend of mine. And we've never not got along. It's just like, I don't know. I look at you and I see you like taking off, and I'm just like, yeah, man, fucking do it. And then I sit there and a tear rolls down, and I'm just like, I miss you, JP. That kind of thing. So
sure.
I mean, if it was the time to ask it,
I think the other thing too, and then Jerick, I'll you can speak, but I think the other thing too is getting a girlfriend actually soaks up so much time at these events because it's also a long distance relationship. So like the times that we get to see each other are at conventions. So it's kind of like, hey, what do you want to do tonight? Oh, you're going to that thing? Okay, great. Let's go there. Oh, it doesn't have any space for anyone else? Shit, that sucks. I guess I'm just going to stay there and hang with you. There's definitely a thought process that comes into play at these conventions where you have to consider the fact that it's you and your significant other and what the two of you want to do. And if like Erin has a ton of friends, and I'm not saying that like it's her fault at all. I'm saying that between the two of us, there's like, I don't know, we're probably attached to 5 or 6 different cliques at these events. So it's like, which clique are we going to go to tonight? Who are we going to devote time to? And it's hard to hit everyone. It really is.
Well, like Cora, goes to conventions with me, and she's not involved in the scene pretty much at all. I mean, her attachment to it is as far as I go, and it's difficult for me. Like I think one of the things that makes me so anxious when I go to conventions, and again, this year I kind of stopped going. I said I'd go to South and to TwitchCon. And one of the reasons is because you're getting pulled in so many different directions, and you feel like you're like for every dinner you go to, you feel like there's like 5 other dinners that you let, like, of people that you let down. And that gives me anxiety personally. So no, I totally understand that. I couldn't even imagine if Cora had her own thing and was doing, had her own like clique and group of friends, and she's met people and stuff. It's not
and the opportunistic side of that is a lot of who Aurelian hangs out with happens to be Twitch folk, which is good for me business wise. So of course I'm going to be like, yeah, let's go hang out with those guys. That sounds great. I'm not going to be like, no, I don't want to fucking like hang out with people that make really important decisions on the platform that I make a living from currently. Like, I could see how that is opportunistic, and it totally is. And so there's definitely factors that play into that at the same time. Jericho, what were we going to bring up though?
I was going to kind of agree with, Ella said it again, but I went to conventions at the start because it was good networking, and you can take that any way you want, but it's good to meet people. Some of those people became my friends. Some of them now work at Twitch. Some of them, are broadcasters, but I went to these conventions and met several people who a long time ago became my friends and then ended up being in the same industry as me. And the longer that we went through these conventions and the more times that we did this, I realized that it stopped being more about me networking or me meeting people and more about me hanging out with the people that I don't get to on a regular basis. But the people that I consider good friends, like really close friends, I see quite often, whether it's through like sponsorship deals or just going somewhere outside of a convention or whatever. I see them a lot. And the conventions themselves have stopped being a place where I really want to go and meet a bunch of new people. Whether it's like scummy or not, whenever I go now, I make a plan and I invite as many people as I can, and whoever wants to come shows up. Like if there's not a party that night, I'll go, I'm going to be at this bar with these 3 people. If you guys want to roll through, fine. Sometimes people come, sometimes people don't. But like, I'm not going to be the one who's trying to play tag with everyone. Just anybody who wants to hang out with me that I know, is going to come hang out with me. And then the close friends that I have, I'll see them there. I'll see them outside. But it's like, I don't feel like I'm in a position in my life right now where I need to really just go out and see everybody. Like, I don't think I saw you at South. Hello. Or maybe I did, but it was like a, hey, what's good, man? Right? But like,
no, you weren't at South Hello, were you? This is where it gets awkward.
I'm trying to sit here.
Oh my God, this is where it gets real awkward.
Yeah, this is where it gets real awkward.
No, awkward for me because it's like I didn't even know you were at South.
Yeah, no, I was actually. I think I reached out to you and you were like, "Let's grab dinner when you're here." And then when I got there, things just got so crazy, so I just didn't even respond back to you. I think that was on me for sure.
All right, not so awkward anymore.
But I feel this is gonna be extra awkward. I feel like we had dinner together, Jericho, but I don't think I don't think we did. It was
we did not have dinner.
Okay, it was.
Oh no, we did have dinner together. It was the Twitch thing, the meeting. Yeah, so we did.
What did I say? I'm so forgettable. This guy had dinner with me and doesn't even remember it. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I mean, I did the same thing because it made me go. I go, was Jericho at that dinner? I was like thinking to myself, okay, and not crazy that you were there. Okay,
look, I mean, and for what it's worth, it's not about like anybody being forgettable. It's just that like I assume that, and at said dinner, also like you remember the Jack Links commercial we did where we basically were, there for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, I consider a lot of people to be friends or at least acquaintances in a way where I will have no problem hanging out with you for whatever reason. But the blunt of it is we only have so much time for those close people. And once you find those people that you really truly do consider best friends, like how much more do you need help with, if they're that good of a friend where you can go to them for anything you need and just to fucking sit there for 30 minutes and then drive back home, like that's a finite number. And so that's why at conventions and stuff, I mean, not saying this happens all the time. First off, I have a bad memory. Second off, we were drinking. I was there. If you remember,
I'm just joking with you. I honestly forgot if you were at the dinner too.
It's fine. I don't remember who else was there besides Brennan and Vern and Steph and Soma. But like there was another couple people. Either way, I agree that there's a finite amount of people, but like I just don't put a lot of effort into like going out of my way to meet up with people that I'm not like that close with. And it's nothing personal. It's just like, I'd rather just hang out with the people I'm already really great friends with. And if I meet somebody new through them or whatever, awesome. But like, otherwise I'm not putting effort into it. It's just because I'm lazy. I only have so much time. I want to take care of the people close to me first.
I have made so many like good relationships with people through this industry and streaming and everything. There's so many of us that are on the same page. And I feel like it's almost like, and this is just maybe me personally, but I feel like a lot of people are interchangeable. Like I can have fun, like a ton of fun with like many different groups and many different cliques.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like if you're there or Zeke's there or Diction's there or Bikeman's there, it's just like hanging out with good friends all the fucking time. So like if you miss somebody or you don't hang out with somebody, it's not a big deal. You'll get them next time, whatever. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like just because we might not be like the bestest friend in the world and everything, that doesn't mean that I don't consider you a close friend. Like I feel like we could hang out at any fucking convention.
Of course.
So that's kind of how I see things. I've got this group of friends at home that I've grown up with, like the super close, tight knit. A lot of them don't do Twitch, or they know that I do Twitch, but they don't, they don't care really. They just, those are the guys that you grew up with. But it's like, man, I feel like a brotherhood with a lot of you guys. I feel like sort of on that level, but it almost in like a kind of a distant way. It's kind of weird, man. It's kind of weird because it's very hard for me to feel close to people. And through Twitch, I've felt close to so many people.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a weird and awkward feeling. It's like too much friendship almost sometimes. I
think a lot of that just comes from the fact that, at least for me, it's hard to talk to anyone that doesn't do this job about this job. Because like, it sounds like, and we've said this a billion times, it sounds like we have the world's biggest first world problem. We're like, oh, you play video games for a living. That must suck.
Yeah. Oh man. That
it's hard to just talk to the average layperson about that because it's like,
Well, hold on. Let's just. I just want to address that real quick.
All right.
A garbage man talks about garbage man problems.
Sure.
A fucking streamer talks about streamer problems.
Sure.
It's just, I mean,
but we're playing video games and the garbage guy's picking up trash. I understand.
He gets to go outside, JP.
That's true.
That's not the point. That's not my point. My point is, I can only complain about shit I know. That's it.
Sure. Yeah.
Do I have a right to complain? Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's my answer to that.
That's a good answer. Totally.
Yeah. Do I have a right to complain? Yeah. Fucking everybody has a right to complain about anything that affects them.
Totally.
Hell yeah. Just because, it seems like the streamer job is a better job, it doesn't mean, shit doesn't go wrong and you can't complain about anything. Like, I don't get mad if, fucking Bill Gates complains about his fucking Picasso that didn't come a day early like it said it was gonna. He's like, oh, goddamn UPS, my Picasso isn't here. It's supposed to be here. You can complain about that. That's fine by me.
I wonder if Bill Gates actually complains.
Everybody.
I want to know what Bill Gates is complaining about now.
He's probably complaining about the same shit I am. Like, maybe his fucking chicken tenders aren't heating up fast enough, or like the oven won't preheat quickly. Like everybody's gonna have something to complain about. There's not anything that, if you don't have something to complain about, you're not what.
Let me ask you this. Have any of you guys been like destitute broke before?
Yes. I've lived out of my car for 3 months.
See, I've been, fucking destitute broke, living in an apartment, behind on rent, couldn't pay for heat. It was cold as shit in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been destitute, fucking $0, negative balance in my account. I've been there. And I'll tell you what, I complain just as much then that I do now. Like, exact same amount.
I still complain quite a bit, but there's definitely some realness where I sit down and I go, all right, man, you lived in a car like 4 years ago. Now you have your own house, you got a family and stuff. Like slow your roll a little bit. Like, I have to do some like real talk with me sometimes, because you never forget where you come from or what you've done, but you can get kind of lost in the glamour of these new problems, and they seem so important. But it's like, man, I'm eating. I got a place to stay, all that stuff. I mean, I used to shower at like gyms and on the beach and stuff. Like, I would sneak into gyms and I would like go in the gym just to shower and stuff. It's like, now I'm able to do this great job. It's like, whenever I go to complain, like whenever I see myself consistently complaining, I do have to take a step back and go, hey man, come on, be real. Be real.
But I did that when I was fucking broke too. I'd be like, well, at least I got a roof. At least I got ramen.
Yeah, man.
That kind of shit. Like, you do that no matter, like, I would do that no matter what. It's just, there's different, at least I've got blank. It's just a different, word
different
that you
tier.
put there.
Yeah.
At least I've got friends. At least I've got, my family. They still love me. That's great. And now it's, well, at least I've got my fucking awesome job, and, I got a nice house, and like that kind of shit. Like, at least I've got blank. It's just changed. That's it.
Yeah. Jack, you said you had a question?
Yeah. Do you guys, okay, so this is going to be interesting because I don't think I've ever asked somebody like who's been through both ranges, I guess I will say, of success. Do you guys ever feel like you're not grateful enough for where you are?
Yes, but it's fleeting.
It is very fleeting.
That sounds so fucked up to say. But yeah.
No, but I mean, it's more towards the people like you guys who have basically had nothing at one point or less than nothing and now have something. Do you feel like you are as appreciative as you should be?
That's what keeps you appreciative, is that feeling. Right. That's what keeps you thanking, like, every time. Like, if you counted how many times I thanked people on every broadcast, like coming back from the break, oh, thank you guys for hanging around, like that kind of stuff. If you counted, it'd be like in the hundreds of times that I thank people a week, or just say the word thank you, or I'm grateful. But that's what keeps you doing it, is the feeling of, man, I don't know if they know it. I don't know if they know how grateful I am and how thankful that for everything that I have. So I'm going to say it just to make sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you're in a relationship and you tell each other you love each other every day. and it kind of falls.
And you
on
don't
deaf
mean
ears.
it. Yeah, I know.
It's not even that you know when you're in a
She's
relationship.
watching, by the way, Elohim. I'm just saying that she's in the channel at this very moment.
You know when you're stuck in this.
I don't want you to get in trouble.
Compromising.
Friend to friend.
I've totally lost my train of thought now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's gone. It's gone. No, it's it's one of those things where you don't want to come across as too thank you. Like every time somebody subs, every time somebody donates, hell, even when a large group of people follow or host, thank you for being here, thank you for this, thank you for that. You start to sound like a robot, and you want it to have that genuine impact every time, because you truly are. If you could open up your heart for somebody, right? If you could show them what's inside your heart and put that on display, my community would know without a doubt how thankful and how blessed I am for everything they fucking given me, right? Yeah. But the only thing you can do is verbally throw it out there, and after a while, it can sound trite,
Totally, yeah. I think every broadcaster on Twitch can relate to that. Like, every week we say thank you. At least most broadcasters will say thank you to every single sub, tip, cheer, whatever. But you're right. At some point, it's just words coming out of our mouths, even though we don't intend it to be. Because there's nothing else that we can do, right? It's not like, hey, thanks for that sub. Let me just give that back to you. Here you go. Here's that sub. It's like, that's the business. So, like,
but it's like every time, I don't know about you, but when I'm at a restaurant and the waitress brings me anything at all, it's always thank you.
Oh, totally.
Even if it's just offhand, thank you. Oh, here's your water. Thank you very much.
Totally.
And that kind of stuff. Even though I'm not like, oh my God, thank you so much for the water. It's so great that you gave me. I was thirsty and I needed, like, you don't go into that, but you say it offhandedly, and they appreciate it more than you do, of course.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's some confidence stuff for sure with me. I think there's a lot, especially early on, there was confidence things like, am I worth the attention I'm getting? Am I asking too much? Am I, even when I deal with like Twitch or sponsors or anything like that, it's almost like the business part of you wants to push yourself further and be ambitious, and the very humbled part of you that's lived in a car is sitting at the back of my mind going, hey man, you lived in a car once, should you really be asking for this or that or whatever? Shouldn't you just be grateful and thankful for what you have? And there's this weird position that you get in where you're trying to better yourself and you're trying to, work through your, your career and rise up. But at the same time, you got this nagging feeling in the back of your head saying, hey man, you were a failure. You were this, you were that, you should just be thankful. You should just take this, or you should just take that, or you should just, do this or that. It's, I don't know if I'm being very articulate, but I think you guys are understanding what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even putting up a donation button, it took me like a couple months to even feel comfortable with putting up a donation. Yeah. I felt like I wasn't deserving of people's money, for what I did. I love what I'm passionate. But if I wanted to get to where I'm at today, have a family, have a house, like these things have to happen. And so there was definitely that. I think I'm much better off now, but there's a balance there for sure that I kind of struggled with for a while. So
yeah, makes sense. Here, Ella, I'll since you asked me a quote hard-hitting question, I'll throw it back at you.
Yeah, man, I came in.
And this, I think this is a little bit more personal than what you asked me. I like how I'm just like, this is more personal, bro. I'm asking you a hard question here. Do you think your stream suffered because your daughter was born? Like, do you stream less? Do you work less because you have to tend to her?
Let me think for a second, because I want to make sure that I'm very clear about what I say, and sometimes I need to take a moment to think about what I say before I say it. So
totally. What was that, Jericho?
I guess with the go ahead, Jericho.
No, I was gonna let you collect your thoughts and just say that I would preface that by saying that it is okay to admit that something suffers because of another thing without that negative.
Yeah. I'm not like, why don't you stream, Elo? I'm asking like having a kid has to be a thing that you got to deal with. Like, that's just life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the question is like, is did having my daughter hold me back somehow? And I'm going to say no. Having my daughter, just the physical act of having my daughter and having a child, did that hold me back? No. I grew up in a family where my father worked 12 to 14 hour shifts almost every day. He was a cop, and I barely got to see him. And so for me personally, it's extremely important and extremely valuable for me to be there in my daughter's life. And I made a very conscious decision early on when she was first born to always put her and my family first, no matter what, and to be the best father I can be and be a broadcaster second. Now, having said that, having a child obviously includes complications, and there's things that can hold you back if you let it. There's different situations that I deal with than people without kids that broadcast, yes, but I never felt like my daughter held me back. And a lot of that credit goes to Cora, because Cora is such a phenomenal mother, and she's so supportive, and she's so amazing that she makes it very easy to still do my job. So if I were to attribute anything to pulling back on the stream and stuff like that, I would say that my daughter didn't do that to me. I did that because of my daughter, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
And again, I just I don't know, man. It's a lot to do with my past too.
Sure. Is that not necessarily a struggle, but like, is
There's
that
a balance?
Is that a stressful thing? I feel like it would be so stressful. Like, oh God, I need to stream. Like, I haven't streamed in a while. It needs to be a long one, but fuck, I have a daughter. Like that seems like it would be, because I do that already with just normal things. Like, man, I should probably eat, or man, I should probably go hang out with the girlfriend, but like, you kind of have to tend to a kid. They need another person.
Yeah, and like recently is a great example, because just within the last couple of months, my daughter's been through this thing where she just wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning. She wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning. She starts to go to bed about 4 a.m. And I start my stream at 4 a.m. and I'm screaming, man. I'm screaming in this house. And at 4 a.m. in the morning, I'm right across the hall from her because of the way that our house is situated. And that keeps her up. And it's tough sometimes, because I can look at Cora and I can see how she's being worn down. And there was this guilty feeling, especially early on, not so much now, because I know what I do is a business. I know what I do, puts food on the table. This is my work. I would have to go off to 8 hours of work anywhere else, like away from the house. Right. And then come back to this. I just see her sometimes struggling or seeming to get tired. And I feel bad that I'm in here playing video games while she's out there tending to the kids and just putting her heart and soul into it. So there was a mental aspect of it that I had to get over eventually, that it's okay for me to sit in this room and play video games while she raises the kid and works really hard in that aspect, because again, this is what I do for work. So and there were arguments, like there's arguments over that shit, it's hard for people. I can only
imagine the stress.
Yeah. It's a difficult balance. It's a difficult thing, but I think more than anything, especially last year, my depression got the best of me more than my taking time for my daughter. Taking time for my daughter happens every now and then. The last couple of months have been a little bit more, just because she's been more needy with the waking up thing. But for the most part, I don't ever feel like she's held me back. I think I made a very conscious decision to put her first, and I think a lot changed for me. Like you always hear from
it's another human being that comes into your life.
Yeah, I know. Like there were weird changes though. Like I always want to be like the best on Twitch. Like when I first started out, like first year or so, like I want to be the best. I want to be the top. I want to be the lyric. I want to be like blah 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 blah. And then like, man, priorities, man, they just shift and things change in such weird ways, and terrible ways, and frightening ways, and wonderful ways. And it's like, and it just. I didn't want to be the best on Twitch anymore. I didn't want that. Like that wasn't the thing anymore. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely a struggle, but I don't know if they feel like she's telling me that.
I have another question for you before I do. Someone prep a question for after me, because I'm running low. And I'm interested in this because I've definitely experienced it as well. But was there a emotional response when Twitch launched a show that was basically a show that you were already doing, talking about fanboys in your current show with Chanman, where it's very similar. It's kind of similar. Granted, they had you out there, so I'm sure the relationship's fine with everyone. But like,
Yeah.
Was there any sense of an emotional response? Like, were you jealous? Were you upset? Were you like, well, that's just our show, but it's going to get front page because it's /Twitch? Like,
it's funny that I really didn't expect that question out of you, because I feel like I've done a really good job of like keeping all that under wraps.
see, but
like,
look, I had shows like that just copied nonstop. So that's why I'm interested. It's less about the fact that we're on stream, more that I'm just genuinely interested in how you feel about it.
So for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, because I run a much lesser known show called Spoiler Alert, where we pick a topic, like a movie or show or something, and we all talk about it for an hour and a half or so, and then we give you like a book, like a book club. We give you homework to go watch, and then we meet back next week and we talk about it. Like Beauty and the Beast is the new show, thing for a show. Mm-hmm. And then Fanboys came out, and it has a very similar presence. I think at very first, I just wanted to know what the show's content was. Like, is it going to be formatted and have this content, and, we're just going to get bullied around, and, like, because they have so many more resources than we do,
totally. They sit on the front page of Twitch during the entire show. Like, it's a gigantic resource.
And yeah, it is. And there are similarities between the shows, definitely. But I feel like the show is formatted in such a way that it does a lot of things different than us, though similar, And if you're gonna, it's kind of weird, because this is Wild West, and people are coming up with show conceptions, brand new here. But how many sports shows are out there? How many this shows are out there, that shows are out there?
Totally.
There's not very many movie type shows that people are doing on Twitch. So if I'm gonna get upset every time somebody decides to do a show about film or about comic books or whatever,
mm-hmm.
I can't. I really, unless they're like they just totally janked our
unless it's just your show name with Chan Man on it as well.
Yeah. I can't really fault the guys over there, and I love DJ Weed. He's always been really good to me. In Control, great guy. They were similar concepts, but they're very different in a lot of ways. And I think the only thing that I'm really jealous of at this point, when jealousy is concerned, is their front page access and their studio. Because their studio is just, it's just Twitch funded. Everything's just Twitch. They just got so much more resources than we do. So if I was jealous of anything, it wouldn't be the content. It would be the resources. We would love to put on a show as beautiful as that show,
Cool.
But yeah, anyways, that's it.
Yeah, I was just interested because I saw that happen. I was like, I thought Elo did a show like that already. And so I was curious about how you feel about it. So
yeah, no, fuck those guys.
Yeah. That's what I wanted. No.
Fuck those guys.
We got about 15 minutes till break. I told you guys to prep questions. Let's see if you did your homework.
You guys covered everything. Yeah. Like, I had a question for each of you, and you asked them. I was going to ask Jericho about the relationship. I was going to ask Zeke about his father. And I was going to ask you about, your career. And those were my questions. So I don't know what the fuck to ask you guys. Is there anything you want to share?
No, I got one for JP, just dealing with what has been the hardest, or if there has been a hard part about having an employee of Twitch as a girlfriend. Like, what do you deal with? Is, if anything, like, I'm curious, like, do people like accuse you of nepotism, like getting favors and all this kind of shit?
This is pretty real talk. We've had conscious decisions even before we started dating about rampant nepotism at Twitch, just in the company in general, which I feel is very present. But we make an effort pretty much every single day to make sure that doesn't occur between the two of us. Perfect example is there's been a couple times where we were going to get featured on front page, and the email just didn't get answered. And she's like, "Oh, well, let me just send that person an email." I'm like, "No, don't do it. I'll send them an email if they respond." Like, that's how serious we take it, because I think it's a very serious thing. But I don't really get harassed or accused of anything. I've never been told that I got something because of my relationship with Aaron when it comes to Twitch. At least to my face. I have no idea what's being said behind closed doors or in private conversations or anything like that. But yeah, it's a serious problem for us, and we strive to make sure that it doesn't happen. And I think we've done a pretty good job. I guess one could say that the reason that and the reason that Aaron was on like the Game of the Year show talking about IRL, was that the IRL launch, I guess? Was because she was there. We were dating. She was at the place doing stuff for the Roleplay Live show, and that just happened to be a happy coincidence. But at the same time, like, I've known Marcus for, I don't know, 10 years at this point, and I can go to him and be like, hey, Marcus, what, like, I have other tie-ins, I guess is what I'm saying, to Twitch that could be far more hazardous when it comes to nepotism than what me and Aaron are doing.
I'm just wondering, like,
Have you ever been denied opportunities or feel like you've been denied opportunities because she's your girlfriend? Do you ever feel like in the sake of not seeming to have nepotism, you've been maybe held back in some aspects?
Not at all. Yeah,
okay.
Not really. If anything, I would say that maybe more offers have come my way, and I've seen that they were because of the fact that I'm dating her, and I'll turn them down. But that's only like one or two things that I can really think of. But yeah, apart from that, it's something that like we've talked about since the very beginning of the time we started dating and are very conscious of at all times. Because I think it's important, right? Like, there's a reason I didn't do the interview on Drop Frames. That was we had a conversation saying I'm not going to be the one interviewing because I'm not going to interview a Twitch staff who I happened to be dating at the time about a huge announcement where I might have the perception of offering up a softball question about a project that is very important and very impactful on Twitch. That's why I told Zeke and Cone. They're like, oh no, yeah, that makes total sense. And they carried the interview, which is fantastic. But yeah, I hope I answered your question, Zeke.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just a real quick one. I kind of want to know, have any of you guys ever, and I've tried to pick the right word for the emotion. Have any of you guys ever felt a little greasy due to a sponsorship or something like that? Like, after the thing was done, did you walk away and go, oh man, that was a little dirty, a little greasy?
I think everyone does at some point. I think that's how you learn what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
The For Honor stuff, I tried fucking forever to get out of that contract because it was, as I expected it would be, and as I told them it would be, 2 hours of me being furious, containing it, and trying to not shit on the game, but still getting paid for doing that. Like, that's not enjoyable for anyone. We didn't have people join the stream and be like, hey, thanks, man. I don't want to get this game because you're playing it now. You really didn't sell me on that. Like, that's a really odd thing that I had to endure, that I tried really hard, and I felt super bad about afterwards because I had to stream for 8 hours for something that I clearly didn't enjoy, was very vocal about, and I still got paid for it.
And
you gotta be really careful with that stuff.
I'll chime in. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Since I asked a question, I'll chime in because I don't want to, be like, no, I never do. After it might be a minor thing, but after like the stride gum thing that I did, and before and during and after it, I felt a little bit weird about it because I don't chew gum. Yeah. I don't
also who the fuck chooses Dentine Ice? The gum of choice.
I'm pretty sure I have.
And JP just made cha-ching.
No, this is actually a problem. I go through 220 pieces of gum every 2 weeks.
Jesus.
I chew gum like a motherfucker, and I don't know why.
Yeah, no, and the way I justified it to myself was I wasn't trying to particularly sell the product. It was a stream sponsored by that product.
Gotcha.
But that's the only time, like when we did a PAX East or one of the PAXs was sponsored by Reese's Puffs. I had nothing to do with it, the sponsorship, but they put like the cereal boxes on the counter right at the beginning, the hello, like, hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah. And I was okay with that because I don't mind that cereal. I fucking ate it on, that shit. But the other way I was like, I don't really chew gum. So,
yeah.
Jericho, you got something?
Yeah. I've taken 2 sponsorships that I really regretted and really tried my best never to do or endorse things that I don't actually personally enjoy or use. Those two are G Fuel and Kinguin. So I was G Fuel's first partner in 2012. And people don't know this, but that was, well, people do know this, but like that was one of the shittiest sponsorships I've ever had to deal with. And it was my first one, but they were paying a fuck ton of money. It was like $750 a month at the time for a college kid whose sole source of income was this. I was like, hell yeah.
Sign it. Let's go.
Yeah. And I liked energy drinks, but that was just a whole super scummy operation. Just disgusting. It was bad. I didn't like it. They probably have changed since then, so I can't comment on G Fuel now, but definitely hated that. And I was like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Like I can't like sell out for something that I'm not fully behind, like Monster Energy TM. But like I hated it. So then G2A comes along and they're offering a fuck ton of money a month for nothing but an overlay. And I'm like, oh my God, boys, like this is it. Kinguin, but G2A was sketchy, and they still are, and they're fucking gross. Don't use them, but like they were sketchy. And Kinguin sponsored, I think it was TSM at the time, and I had met Kinguin while hanging out with TSM and got to meet their rep, and the rep was nice, talk, sign a contract, and then they default on payment on that contract and say, if you want money, you have to sue us in court in, where are they operating? Like Poland. And I was like, well, never working with those again. And that actually, those two experiences were what stopped me from taking a Counter-Strike sponsorship from any of those, sites, skin, gambling. Like, I just won't do it because it rubs me the wrong way. Like, I've turned down $10,000 a month contracts and sponsorships for a year multiple times. And it's just like, I won't even, like Corsair offered me a sponsorship and I took half the money to go with Razer, who I have worked with and been friends with for 4 years. That's just like, I learned my lesson twice. I don't like it. It feels gross.
Yeah.
I'd rather be like fully behind something and get paid less because let's be honest, like it's plenty money. Like I'm happy, I'm chilling. Like I don't really milk every dollar out.
It's also easier to be like, yeah, I use Razer stuff. You should buy Razer stuff. Not
right.
I like using Razer stuff, but they're paying. You're not Dave Chappelling it right now. Like,
yeah.
You don't like Pepsi because they're paying you more at this moment.
They paid me. I've done commercials for Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah.
Pepsi's better because they paid me last.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. In the effort of not starting a big debate about G2A, I have a sort of a different thing. I've always been very, very, very careful about the sponsorships that I've taken. I've always made sure that the things that I'm doing are the things that I use myself, or if it's something I haven't tried, that I've at least given it a shot, right? That let's say, G Fuel wanted to reach out to me and work with me. If I've never heard of G Fuel, I have them ship me something and I try it myself. If I like it, I look at the health options and everything like that. I was in kind of a different position because I was very vocally pro G2A. And for many reasons. And again, I mean, if you guys want to get into it, we can. I can debate up and down the whole G2A thing. It's not a popular opinion, but what I found is that I found that the one time that my integrity has been called into question is when I believed in like G2A and the free open market and stuff like that, and people's opinion of G2A has negative opinions of G2A has swayed me in a way that against my beliefs, so that like I just absolutely leave them. I eventually did end up leaving G2A because I feel like after being with them for 2 years, they still haven't done what they needed to do to clean up their act, guilty or not. It's bad for me and it's bad for my brand, not taking care of their partners. So I left. But at the same time, that was a really, really difficult situation for me. Very difficult situation for me because I mean, I even just mentioning G2A now, there's people in the chat that are going to go scumbag, like just for saying I'm pro it. And that has more to do with open market economy. It has more to do with the progression of video games and where we can go digitally with them and how we sell them and stuff like that. There's so many more things about it that I was for. And it made it very difficult for me just because of the public outcry, even though despite my beliefs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Someone brought up, I did a Gillette sponsorship when the Avengers was coming out where I shaved my beard for, it was just using their razor. I forgot what the thing was. And if I felt scummy doing that, and I got to do a sponsorship with Gillette.
Yeah,
and it was with Marvel. Like that's like pretty fucking awesome. there was zero shadiness or skeeviness with that whatsoever.
Oh yeah. That's how I felt with Taco Bell. I'm like,
yeah, man, that's awesome. That's cool.
I literally could not care less. Samsung, like any big sponsorship, like as long as I have creative control over it, I'm confident in my ability to make it not read like a shitty ad.
Right.
But also be genuine. Like that's part of why you're paying me to like not sit there and talking headed.
Buffalo Wild Wings, hello.
Yeah, dude, I would have loved it. I got jealous of you guys because I actually like the blazing wings, and I'm like, they're getting paid to eat fucking blazing wings. Like, let me go at it. I want to eat wings on stream.
I'm
like,
so glad I didn't get offered for that.
I used to go to do trivia at Buffalo Wild Wings weekly.
Yes.
You know, like I'm a big fan of Buffalo Wild Wings. I always have been. So when they came, I mean, I'm not a big fan of eating super hot things and hating myself for it. But I mean, it's a fun challenge, right? Like I'm definitely up to taking on challenges and having fun, even if it's not something I would order regularly. I don't feel like a sellout just because I'm trying out the super hot wings. You know, I eat at Buffalo Wild Wings. All right, they want to work together. Fuck it, why not? And you know, here's another thing too: is that there's this whole idea of like sellout that's very, very, very strange on Twitch. It's almost like they want to fit the idea of like rock bands selling out and make it fit into what we're doing here. Do you understand? Like, hold on, Jared.
No, I get it.
You get what I'm saying though? Like this whole idea, like if you work with like we worked with Jack Links, I had somebody send me this scathing, hateful thing about how I was on this commercial for Jack Links. And I eat Jack Links. Like, yeah, oh yeah. Like I eat Jack Links. Like it's something I've done way before they reached out to me. It made sense for me because it's a product I use, you know, but just the fact that I was doing anything with what was considered to be a big company or a big name just makes people mad. It just makes me mad. Like there's almost no sense behind it.
Sellout's definitely a meme though, so that there's a you gotta be able to read between the lines a little bit on that.
Can I important distinction? I feel like, and I've said this publicly before too, Twitch has a culture that supports the streamer making money. No matter what, there is no way in hell you could ever show your average earnings for a video on YouTube and be like, you guys fucking killed it this time. Summit just hit 20,000 subscribers yesterday. Just had like this whole thing about it. That's fucking awesome. And everybody there was like, hell yeah, we did it. Like wearing that number on your shoulder or on your chest or whatever the phrase is like, it's fine here. And so is, I'm not really, if you choose your sponsorships or your promotions, fine. Everybody's supportive. YouTube is fucking terrible. It is. If you thought anything was bad on Twitch, YouTube, I have to have an on-screen disclosure, everything like that. On good videos where I'm actually like shit talking the game, but like in a funny way to, you know, and they sign off and whatever, people are still like, man, this is like a kind of funny video. Sucks that you had to sell out for it though, dislike. And I'm like, you said it was a good video and you disliked it. Fuck. So like, I mean, I think that you're right. There definitely always will be the sellout kid, but like Twitch is so much more forgiving from somebody who does both. Like so nice.
You're right. And that's great. That's a really good point to point that out. I didn't mean to sound so negative. I apologize. No. I just know that there's definitely a portion of the audience that has this idea of what selling out is, and it doesn't necessarily fit what we do, but they try to make it fit. And I don't know how better to articulate it than that, but I feel like it has more to do with like old school rock and roll kind of thing. It's almost like they come out of a different generation or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I got one final question. It's for Jericho. I feel like I haven't asked him, and I don't think this is that bad, but I don't know what exactly. I feel like you're okay. Your channel on Twitch came from YouTube.
Yeah.
In the sense that you grew your channel here on Twitch because of your following on YouTube.
Right.
What are you at follower wise right now? Like
930,000.
930K. All right. There is a group on Twitch where the follower to viewer count number doesn't match up.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm definitely in there.
Okay. But advertisers don't give a shit about live viewers so much as it is followers, right? Somewhat.
Will sort of agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I see where you're going with this. So hit me
yeah.
with it.
So how do you feel about that when you look at other channels that maybe get more viewership but have less followers on their channel, but a sponsor goes to you instead. Obviously, you're going to do the smart thing and be like, yeah, of course, let's work together. But is there any sense of like, I don't know what I'm asking here. Is there a sense of like,
is it weird that I'm getting offers that other people probably would be able to be more valuable for?
Not necessarily is it weird because I understand the numbers, but do you feel weird about it? Do you feel
okay? Yeah. So
wishy-washy about it?
No. All right. So I'm very open. I'm represented by over 10 agencies, management companies, from film to actually just like, meat or like, GG games and all that stuff.
Right.
The reason I don't have a manager or somebody is because it would be really hard for you to find somebody that has been doing this longer or have more experience in our space than I do. And I know that sounds really conceited, but I've been doing this and running myself or as a business through YouTube and Twitch solely my entire life. So I have really good connections in most of the tier 1 companies that are only involved in gaming, whether it's Razer or, Elgato or PCs, you name it, right? If they have a presence in Twitch or conventions, I know them very well. That's just because I've been in the space long. Anybody outside of that, I have so many sponsored and ad deals from the 8 years I've been doing this. I have a really strong portfolio and like documented proof of concept of what happens when you hire me, right? If you look to somebody like Tim or Summit, well, not Summit, he's a bad example, Tim, who's really just come to fruition in the last 3 years, right? He's just blown up. And now he's one of the biggest streamers. He doesn't take very many deals. He doesn't know how to market himself well. He actually, like we've had this discussion before, he doesn't price himself well. And so there's a lot of times where I'll be able to take the deal from somebody who's maybe, I'm not going to say more deserving, but like could get more, the company could get more from them simply because I'm a safe bet. And that pays off. I don't need to be the biggest. I don't need to be the best at anything. I just need to be consistently really good and dependable. And since I have that long track record and stuff like that, I feel like that's the reason why I'm still even able to do this when I'm getting less viewers than like most of the top chunk of Twitch. Same reason Swifter gets deals. Like he's really dependable and really
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask something real quick?
Huh?
I want to see if you guys have this fear that I have. Are you guys ever scared of like tall poppy syndrome?
What is that?
What the fuck is that?
Oh,
is this a documentary that you watched, Ella? Are we going full circle?
No. It's
no.
That's probably Joe Rogan.
So I watched this show about baking, and it's fantastic. Okay,
no, I think that's actually probably Joe Rogan talking is where I probably got that. But no, this idea that what scares me almost more than anything is the idea that you get so big and people build you up that if you make one mistake, even like and it's moderately bad, that society as a whole enjoys tearing you down as well. So yeah, and I was just about to mention that. It's like there's a certain level of success that you get to that if like one bad thing happens, it's like all of it's gone, boom, like that, because there's this like obsession in society where we like to build up our heroes and then break them down. And examples of this, like Ronda Rousey, she loses one match. And now that's a whole thing now. But even after she lost that first match, like Holly Holmes, people abandoned her, turned on her totally. Big fans, just like that,
Totally.
PewDiePie recently in our industry, was under attack by fucking media in a vicious and really unfair way. And it's simply because he's the biggest person out there and they have their own agendas. There's a very real idea of being at a level of such success that you're actually vulnerable in a way to a lot more things than say a mid-tier, like a higher mid-tier person would be. You guys ever think about that at all?
I don't know if it would ever occur here on Twitch. Like, I think if something,
I think it's a matter of time. It hasn't yet, but I think there's a matter of time. It's like even like Lyric had a thing where this didn't break him down or anything, but he made a comment about driving drunk or something like that. And
he made a comment about smoking weed on Twitter, and people lost their shit. He just
posted a photo of him with a joint.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
now that I didn't know about. Maybe I'm talking about something else because I don't think it was that. I think he made a comment about like just driving drunk, or he had some drinks with his friend and came home, and then people just lost it on him. And I totally get it, right? Driving drunk is wrong. It's bad. It puts people at risk. You know, like I get it. But it seemed like just because he was so popular, he got more heat than he would have otherwise. I
feel like the people that watch Twitch have a much higher forgive and forget or remember and forget mentality than the mainstream media when it comes to something like PewDiePie or Rousey or any of that, where if it would have to be something like really fucking dire to kill a big streamer. Like we're talking like murder.
Yes, Phantom Lord showed his face at the CSGO major in Las Vegas. I saw him with my eyes. He was at the Twitch party.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is alive and well. Yeah. And we don't know what percentage George gave him yet. We need to find out the answers.
It's very true. Yeah. Like,
but yeah, if he has a Snapchat that's still popping off and people still care about him and shit, like, that to me, I'm like, there's no ceiling.
Yeah, but he's like done on Twitch though, right? Like, I mean, and for totally legitimate reasons. I'm more worried about the stupid shit that people blow out of proportion. Like again, I hold back PewDiePie. You know, like taking clips of his videos where it
piecing them together,
and piecing them together, this like hit piece, right? Sure, it's not happened on Twitch yet to that degree, but. I mean, you think we're always just going to have the biggest stars? It's never going to be any drama, or there's never going to be that.
The best defense to that, I mean,
by the way, I'm just curious. This is things I think about. I thought this was a good time to bring.
I think it'll happen.
It'll happen eventually.
The best defense to this, and I feel like the reason it hasn't happened yet is because on YouTube, people getting exposed for diddling kids all the time because you only have to be a cool person for 10 minutes on camera or whatever you're doing.
Right.
Which it's really hard to fake being scummy. Like eventually you're going to slip up and your true nature is going to come out.
That's very true.
I mean, before they get up there, you know,
and maybe this isn't the best example, but it popped in my head. And so I'm just going to say it anyways. If you show your penis in the mainstream media, it's a giant fucking scandal. If you show your penis on Twitch, you're about 5 Twitch streamers that I can name off the top of my head right now that do pretty well on an average day. So like it is a different world, I think, when comparing the two. The fear that I think you might have that might be true is when you have mainstream media take a look at what Twitch is doing and really get into the world and figure it out and start to, like whenever that happens is when we might have to start worrying about it.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Nice. I was just worried. I was just curious if you guys have like that's just something that scares me. Like and like it's like sometimes it's so out of your hands, man. Like it's nothing to do with you, you know.
I would put money that you will not suffer that consequence.
Yeah.
I think you've got yourself locked down pretty good, you know. Like
I don't know. After JP just told me I could show my penis and get away with it.
Look, as long as it's not on Twitch, man, people won't give a fuck.
At 4 a.m. I'll do that shit. Right. Oh god damn it, you beat me to it. I was gonna show it right now.
Look, I closed my eyes, so I'm not guilty of anything, Twitch. I didn't see it myself. I wasn't aware that it was on my channel. We didn't talk about this before. I'm not liable. Shut their shit down, not mine.
And that's like when are you guys talking about it? I don't think that I'm a big enough streamer, a big enough deal or whatever, because if you cut some of the shit that I've said on my stream together or took it out of context or whatever, I'd be in the same fucking boat, but I think I'd have to be a lot fucking bigger than I am for it to even warrant me defending it.
Yeah.
Either that or the shit that people get nailed for might be their actually, real views. And it's just like, like he's like, did you say that, Jericho? Like just popped out.
Yeah. Just
went like, I'm sorry for what I said about people from Minnesota. I didn't mean it. I apologize. I don't really think that way. Wink.
Right. And that's the other thing too, is the culture of Twitch pretty much accepts calling someone a retard. If you say that in like mainstream media, you're going to catch some flack and you're going to have, people with pitchforks. But like, for the most part, you can kind of say almost anything on Twitch or have someone else say something during a donation and you're going to get a slap on the wrist. Like it's a different set of rules for sure. that
Yeah,
I don't.
dude, somebody dropped a hard R recently, and I don't think you just reminded me of it because I was like, oh fuck, I forgot about that. He's fine, man. He's a big streamer too. He literally like he got a 48-hour ban or something like that. Came back, now it's a meme, but like yeah, I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
So,
I think we're still a couple of years away from that, Elo.
Yeah.
What might happen though is if a middle, I could definitely see like and when I say middle tier, no one really knows what that means. When I say someone maybe around our size, 4 of us in the call, people around our size, not the upper echelon of Twitch, but good enough that we can make a living from this and it's our main source of income and all that stuff. If one of us says something or does something or has drama or whatever, you'll definitely see like a economical impact to us in terms of a sub drop or a viewer drop or something like that. That could definitely occur. But is it going to kill the stream? No, probably not. Like Josh OG had all that stuff with the lotto stuff, and he just kept streaming, and his channel's fine. He's perfect. He had like 13,000 last night playing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lately he's blowing up too.
So it works. Like if you just put your head down and keep doing what you're doing, eventually whatever bad thing that occurred, you're just going to get through it. And that's kind of true in life in general. But it's definitely true in streaming. Like, it's a very forgetful community.
I agree. You think that's because we're so? You think it's because we get in front of people and we're personal with them? And this is
probably.
Thing too. People don't realize that. Like if you just think about it, like even just scientifically, we talk, especially me, obviously, for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours a day, right? Eventually, because we're human and because we are flawed, right? We are going to say something wrong. We are going to say something that is fucked up.
Oh, dude, I play Dota every day. I say the most fucked up shit.
I have been blacked out on stream, and you know how I know that I'm not a scumbag. The worst thing I have ever done on stream is shake a 12-inch big dildo while streaming and playing Destiny. And I deleted that VOD because I was embarrassed, but not because it was bad. And there's pictures of me doing it and shit. Like it's a big.
That's just funny. That's just funny,
but like you don't have, if you get drunk and you choke your cat out, like you really like. I've gotten drunk a lot of times. My dog's still fine and he's not getting choked out. Like there's a line where you have to be able to be like, yeah, I might slip up and say like, say something that I shouldn't have or insult somebody, but it's not ever at a point where it's like really fucked up to the point where I'm like, I gotta delete that vibe.
Well, yeah, no. I'm not even talking about like that level of fucked upness. I'm just saying in general, we're gonna say things that we don't.
Don't.
It has flaws. I think that happens every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think that I think most reasonable people understand that because we talk so much and so often, and there's no other thing out there where where there are people entertainment-wise are talking as long as
right.
I think most people can understand. All right, I've appreciated and enjoyed so-and-so's content for this many hours, this many weeks. He said this one thing I don't agree with, or he fucked up, or he said it wrong, or his tone was different, or whatever. So it's not a big deal. As opposed to maybe something like that happening to somebody, like on YouTube, because they don't have that real personal connection. Do you think that matters?
Well, if someone on YouTube now this is something.
Sorry, you guys gave me a thing to like get out.
No. This is something.
No, it's fine.
This is something that I would like to know, because the things on YouTube that people have gotten in trouble for, that is videos that they have themselves seen, edited, and put up themselves, right? Saying something live, like saying something like we used to when I was a kid, we used to call each other gay, and it was a bad thing. But I was in elementary school. We'd be like, "That's so gay."
Yeah,
and that kind of shit.
I mean, ask Jericho from the Call of Duty. Rape is a big word in the Call of Duty community.
I don't want to go back. I'm out of the cutscene. Don't put me back.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, shit will come out of your mouth when you're upset or drunk or whatever live that you wish you could take back. However, when you make a video and you edit it,
you leave it in there,
and you leave that shit in there.
Sure.
Like,
that's an excellent point. The candidness of it, like off the cuff, almost improv, as opposed to taking a very calculated look at what you're putting out as your brand. I totally get that. That's a totally valid point.
Yeah.
So silence.
Well, the accountability for that, right?
Yeah. Moral of the story is avoiding these problems is easy. Don't be a scumbag.
Yeah, just don't be a scumbag.
It's pretty-
It's kind of a good way to live life. Just don't be a or if you're going to be a scumbag, just do it privately, and then eventually you're still going to get caught. But you'll last a little bit longer.
Well, I think you can say a lot of horrible shit. Like yesterday, you can say a lot of horrible shit as long as you're not racist, sexist, homophobic against one particular group of people. If you say some really awful shit to someone personally, it's very forgivable. Like even last night, someone pissed me off while I was playing Dark Souls, and they said, "How long have you been on this boss?" And I believe my response to that was, "As long as I was beating up your sister's pussy last night." And it was a long time.
I thought you were going to say, as long as I was beating up your sister last night. I was like, oh, okay. You went real far.
No. Like, yeah, your sister, because that you can really take a pounding. And it was a long time. And that kind of shit. You can, as long as you're individual about it and you say, like, you, sir or madam, this is what I'm saying to you personally, not a whole group of people.
Yeah. Target an individual, bully one person, not a group.
The fear there is when that gets taken out of context and someone makes a highlight reel. That's when it gets real sketchy. But I feel like it would be pretty easy to, like, quote, do a takedown video on streamers because there's so much content out there to pull from.
Oh God!
Like
it wouldn't be hard. You could look at one of my videos, just any one of them, and I feel like you could cut something
and just
out.
cut and edit stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the killer is context. Context. When there's lack of context, that's the killer.
Yeah.
Like that is the worst thing. Some people will be like, context doesn't matter. I am like, are you fucking crazy? Context is everything. You know, you never know the intentions of a certain person, you know, until you get the whole story.
But the funny thing is, those highlight videos probably already exist because we made them because we told the person that makes our highlight videos to make funny clips, and it's us just telling people to go fuck themselves over and over. So like,
live stream fails exist, guys.
Yeah.
They got hype. That's what they got.
Man. How many times have you guys been on live stream fails?
Maybe once, and it wasn't even bad.
Two. We were on there for drop frames. When we did the fail high five, it wasn't even bad. We just did like a try joke high five for the Game of the Year episode 2.
I gotta say, I think I got like a half dozen on there.
Yeah, I've been on there several times, but you know what? It's different now than when the site first, like when the Reddit group first started.
Now
like,
it's not as malicious.
Yeah, it used to be like really bad fails, like things that were embarrassing. Now it's like it might be a highlight clip, like one of your highlight clips.
Yeah, now I go there and watch and laugh because they're actually humorous.
I'm on the front page right now of it.
Are you?
Oh, really?
For a win, not a fail.
Like I see, they've got like win sections that like I see Ko on there all the time, and every time I'm like, what did Ko do? Like, what could be that bad? And I jump on there, and it's like Ko got his foot stuck in a trap when he was playing the trapper on day. What was that that horror game?
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah, I was like, how is this I mean, yeah, it's a fail, but it's not like embarrassing. It was much more malicious, like you said at the beginning. Yeah. I think being on there now is almost like a badge of honor.
There's
like good publicity. It's like if you end up on Twitch fails now, you can be on there for like
you become Ice Poseidon. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Ice Poseidon's like highlight reel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
really.
Now usually the headline for mine is like giant man baby destroys monitor in temper pick.
That one I definitely saw on there for sure. Yeah. I thought I was going to be on there the other night.
Wait, hold on. That one, there's been several.
Oh, yeah, sure. I thought I was going to end up the other night because do you guys know what MeUndies are? Have I told you about MeUndies? So I was wearing MeUndies, and for whatever reason, you can stretch those super long, like super fucking far. So sometimes when I'm bored to get a laugh out of chat, I'll pull them all the way up to my shoulders and then step back like this. And so I did that, not aware that when you stretch that stuff, it gets really thin and almost see-through with these bright lights. So then as I'm doing this and like laughing to myself, and everyone in the chat's like, bulge, 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 just like spamming nonstop. I'm like, oh shit. So I was like, well, that's going to end up on there. It didn't end up on there.
Just so I can avoid this video, where would I go to see that?
It's on my clips. There's like 30 or 40 of my clips on there.
Are you a grower, not a shower? Were you embarrassed at your bulge, or were you like proud of it?
No. I was just kind of like, I didn't even mention anything on stream because I was laughing internally at how stupid that was in the first place. But yeah, I'm definitely not. I mean, I'm bringing it up on a show in front of 4 times the audience right now, so I'm definitely not embarrassed by it. But you can find that clip, I think.
I'm proud of you, JP.
I thought that was going to be on there. I seriously did. I like went there afterwards. I was like, I guess I'm all right. I was actually
like I have a clip of it somewhere. They download that shit and they add to it in the meantime. Yeah. You're a sexy beast, man. People can't get enough of you.
I guess. All right, we're about 30 minutes over. We still don't have much to talk about in the second half, but I don't know. I thought this was fun. I think if we bring on other people and maybe I don't start off with, hey, Zeke, your dad died on stream. Let's talk about that. And then just completely misphrase that shit.
No, I was actually going to bring it up again when you asked Ella about his daughter affecting his stream and stuff like that, and people were saying like, "Oh, that's so harsh at 7." Something I was like, it's a completely valid question because life events will affect your shit.
Totally.
And you could have said, "Did your dad dying affect your stream in a negative manner?" Yes, it did.
Yeah.
It very much did. It also affected it in a positive manner in certain ways and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's weird to say that. It's weird to say like, yeah, dad dying really had a positive effect on the broadcast or on the channel itself because it made it we all shared the experience, so we became closer due to that.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
I think there's a lot to learn about watching other people's streams too and their struggles in streaming too. I would hope that people who decide to have kids that like streamers, people who are in this industry, that if they had any questions for somebody who's maybe been through it, that you would be able to reach out and talk to them about it. Like I've had people ask me about streaming with being a parent, because apparently there's not a lot of streamers out there with kids like
no, it's a pretty rare thing.
Like mid-tier, high tier, kind of like around there. There's very few, but eventually, I would say, there's obviously gonna be kids that pop up. Coach just had one.
That's the. I want to ask in the future, and it probably won't be on the show, but I'm really curious to see what type of. It already happened today. There was already like, well, Ko had a kid and he streamed 10 days. It's like, don't normalize that shit. Ko's a workaholic. Don't normalize the fact that he had a kid and still works 10 hours a day. There's always going to be an exception to the rule. Like, you can't shit on someone because they decided to spend time with their kid instead of streaming, nor can you shit on someone they decided to spend time streaming instead of spending time with their kid. There's always going to be an exception. And so I want to see, like, if you get that in the future. Like, well, Ko did this. Why aren't you doing this?
I get that anyways. Like, I've been living with that like pretty much my entire career. Because Ko and I had such a rivalry, like growing up, like a healthy rivalry, like a friend rivalry, and it's what got us to where we're at.
Right.
But I believe that actually it was like maybe a couple of days before Cora actually delivered Junie. I remember reaching out to him because we always talked back and forth. We collaborated, but we always again had that rivalry. I remember reaching out to him. He'll tell you. I was like, "You win." I was like, yeah, I just told him, I was like, you in, I have it. Like, even before, like, things really started to blow up for Ko, this is 2.5 years ago. I told him, like, there's no way I can keep up with you after my kid's born. Like, love you, do it, go for it. Yeah. And I mean, there's just this, there's a certain point, and yeah. It's really, I'm
always curious.
But no, I get compared a lot. I get compared a lot to Ko, but that's okay because it's a good comparison. Because Ko is a workaholic, and it keeps me on my toes too. So. It's good.
Without a doubt. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good for a break. We'll come back and actually talk about video games and stuff, I guess. There's really... Twitch put some new stuff up, so we can talk about that as well. That clip got spammed a lot in chat, so go watch that during the break. We'll take a break right now and be back with the second half here of Drop Frames, episode 98. 2 more till episode 100, and it's all over. It's done. We're out of here. We'll be back in like 5 minutes.